behalf of the Greater Topsail Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, thank you for being here tonight for the North Topsail Beach Alderman Council, however you pronounce it. You're running for your office of alderman. So we're going to give you 2 minutes. Rick's been great to set up the timer, but if you don't pay attention to the timer, Fred's going to lower the hammer on you. And we have a button here, we can mute you. We kind of like having this power. But the format tonight is that everybody will get the same question, but we will alternate who starts so that the audience, both at home and here, will get to see and hear what your thoughts are and what your vision is for the town. So this is to be impartial and fair. The chamber doesn't endorse. We work with whoever's elected. And so we don't have a dog in the fight. We just wish you all the best. So we'll start with Mr. Anders. And if you'll introduce yourself, and then we'll go right down the line. And you have 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm Mr. Anders. I go by Curtis. That's my father's name is Elman. I've lived here for 2 years on the island here, and my background starts with 2 daughters and 1 son that I've raised for 35 years by myself as a single parent. 20 years military, veteran. After I retired military, I've transitioned into the civilian world with the metal roofing company here in North Carolina, where I was a plant manager and a production manager for Piedmont and coastal North Carolina, and also 7 tributaries throughout the South. I moved on from there to Walmart, where I was a manager in 3 different locations in and around the Fort Bragg and Fayetteville area. When I moved on from there, I still stayed in connection with the community by being a Chief Justice in the polling district of Cumberland County. And then I moved on, as most of us do, to take care of my parents until they passed on a couple of years ago. I am a communicator, a people person, a fixer, and I listen and very transparent to the people that come and talk to me about things. My motto is always God, family, and country. I also believe in the life journey that all of us are on, that our Maker has given us here, however long or short it is. And I will always be transparent, like I said, with you, whether I'm on the board or on the sideline like I've been in the last 2 years. So thank you, and God bless each one of you on your life journeys.
Mr. Barefoot.
Thanks for everybody coming out. My name is Mark Barefoot. I live at 246 Sandpiper. I'm 56 years old. I love North Topsail Beach. Grew up poor. Had 3 older brothers, so I know how to take a beating, and I know how to keep coming back. Went to Uncle Sam. He took good care of me for 6 years. I completed one of the most difficult military academic trades there is, nuclear power school. Served on a submarine for 2 years, served on a cruiser for 2 years. I was in the Gulf, good conduct medal, North Pole, equator, yada yada. Long story short, I got out with engineering, stayed in big pharma, ran utility divisions, boilers, air compressors, water treatment plants, vapor compression steels, wastewater plants. Had to make $1 million decisions in split seconds. Been a volunteer fireman for over 20 years. I've raised a family. Now I'm at that point where I've been here 10 years. I've been asked to run years and years and years, and I've turned it down. After seeing the candidates that have gone for this position, I realized it was time for me to step in. I've also been HVAC plumbing supervisor at Western Carolina University for over 3 years before I decided that I had an opportunity to come back to the beach and manage commercial business here. I love this town. I love the people. I enjoy being friends. I enjoy being neighbors. And most importantly, I'm the dark horse. My name is not on the ballot. I am running a write-in campaign. The name is just like it sounds with the beach, being barefoot. So thank each and every one of you guys for coming out tonight. Appreciate you. And just remember that I'm the guy that if you need a generator and gas, come see me. I'm the guy that if you need anything done, like your deck being cut off with a chainsaw due to storms coming in to keep your house from falling in, come see me. Thank you. God bless. Good night.
Okay, Mr. Leonard.
Hi, I'm Tom Leonard. I am running for re-election for Alderman. I'd like to welcome everybody and thank the Chamber and all those involved with setting up this forum. I'm a retired United States Marine Corps officer with over 30 years total service, over half of which was performed locally here at Camp Lejeune. I lived here full-time for over 23 years now, minus several deployments, since February 1st of 2002. I was ordered here for what was supposed to be a 2-year assignment, and I never left. I've served 3 terms on the Board of Aldermen, and I'm currently also serving as the Mayor Pro Tem. I believe that I bring a level of experience and expertise to the board that provides a solid foundation to serve on your board and a unique understanding of the issues and challenges that are facing our town. Prior to running for office, I served as a member and later the vice chair of our town's beach erosion study team during 2008 and 2009 from its creation until its conclusion. I believe that our town's committees and boards are a great place for individuals to begin service to the town. They provide an excellent understanding and foundation of how our local government works and specifically what it can and cannot do. I'm currently serving as a member of the Topsail and Shoreline Protection Commission and have been for almost 9 years. I'm a current member of the Board of Directors for the North Carolina Beach, Inlet, and Waterway Association, also known as NC Byway, and have been so since 2018. I am also a member of the Camp Lejeune Military Retiree Council. I'm running primarily because I want to see through the removal of our town from the COBRA. I've worked on this for several years, and despite campaign statements to the contrary, we are currently on the right track with 2 pending bills, 1 in each chamber. My additional goals are to update and improve our town's aging facilities and infrastructure, including the Public Works Building, the North End Fire Station, and town-owned streets, and the restoration of all of our town's shoreline, including the development of permanent solution to our erosion problems up at the inlet. Thank you.
I just had to use that mute button.
I knew it would be me.
Signs too.
All right, Mr. Malcolm? Be sure you turn on your mic.
I thought I pushed it. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the Greater Topsail Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism for hosting this important forum, and especially to Director Tammy Proctor for facilitating tonight's discussion. My name is Kip Malcolm, and I am running for the office of Alderman because I believe my nearly 3 decades of dedicated service, proven leadership, and commitment to community partnerships are exactly what North Topsail Beach needs right now. For over 28 years, I served in law enforcement with the Arlington County Police Department in Virginia. This career taught me the true meaning of public safety, responsibility, and stepping up in crisis. Lessons deeply imprinted on me as a first responder to the Pentagon on September 11th. Throughout my tenure, I've sought out every opportunity to cultivate leadership, completing extensive programs like the Virginia Chiefs of Police Association's Professional Executive Leadership School, serving as a graduate and subsequent instructor for the International Association of Chiefs of Police and West Point Leadership Seminar at the Arlington County Police Department. I commanded our hostage or crisis negotiation unit. I was the Honor Guard commander. And I've constantly been building teams and mentoring future leaders through programs like the Legacy Mentoring Program. After retiring, I continued this path of service as an emergency management planner. I even served as a site director in Arlington for the COVID-19 vaccination response. Since making North Topsail Beach my home, I've fully immersed myself in our local community. I serve as the chair on the Zoning Board of Adjustments and proudly serve our town as a reserve police officer. Having recently completed a challenging instructor training at Cape Fear Community College. Further deepening my community involvement, I am vice president of the Ocean City Beach Citizens Council and volunteer over at Fairy Tales Youth Theater across the bridge. So these themes of service, leadership, and community, I believe that apply my background, will help me lead this town. Thank you.
Mr. Struthers?
And then there's Larry. I'm Larry Strother. I've lived permanently on the island in North Topsail Beach for the past 10 years. My wife, Lori, owns Porch and Nest, which is a home decor shop in Wilmington. She stays busy with that. We've got a fairly large family. We've got three children, 4 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. And I'm an active member. Oh, I forgot my dog, Dixie Ray. If you look at my flyer, that's my love of my life. I'm an active member of Sneads Ferry Presbyterian Church. I'm very active with the church. I've been an elder. I'm the head usher. I've been on the outreach committee. I chaired a project for 2 years, building a new building for the church and enlarging part of the other church. Civically, I've done a lot of things, but locally, I've been I'm a charter member and current chairman of North Topsail Beach's Beach Inlet Sound Advisory Committee. And over the last 3.5 years, we've completed phases 4 and 5 of our beach renourishment plans, and our action plans taking place, and I'm going to talk about that a little later. Professionally, I spent 45 plus years in the development, building, real estate, apartments, the general real estate whole thing. I was self-employed for most of those 48 years in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I know how to budget, I know how to plan, I know how to take care of big ticket items, and I think that'll help me a lot with what we're doing here at the board. Earlier in life, I spent 4 years in the United States Marine Corps in a F-4 squadron, including a final tour in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. My wide range.
We cut you off. We're going to stay on task here with time. All right. We're going to take our first question with Mr. Anders. We've got some good questions tonight. So, here's one about, does North Topsail Beach have a comprehensive plan? And do you have plans for growth?
Well, what we've learned in the last 3 meetings that we've come to, it's been brought up quite a few times. There's no 5-year plan at all for this town. Being military background and everything, it's always a priority. The second job that I had and everything, the company didn't have one. And when they did, they flourished about 3 years later after they built a contractor plan. Of course, Walmart is a large corporation, have a very good plan. So I've always been taught and learned that 5-year plans are exactly what towns have to have, and even a long-range 10-year plan should be there also. This town is lacking in a lot of things that have been let go in the past that we need to catch up with, and the only way to do that is look to the future and ensure we're ready for things to be taken care of each year. Thank you.
Mr. Barefoot,
Could you repeat the question before I start again?
does North Topsail Beach have a comprehensive plan? And how do you plan, or do you have plans for growth?
I feel that North Topsail Beach does have a comprehensive plan, but there's plenty of room for improvement. Definitely need I know it's time consuming and aggravating, but we need a 1, 3, 5, 10-year plan. I've been here 10 years, and of course a hurricane throws all your plans out the window. But we have to be prepared for that wrench to be thrown in every now and then, and be prepared to readjust. I was here with Florence. I saw what I feel personally, having come back and seen how it was handled. I thought it was a catastrophe. I told Dan Tooman that one night as well. Tom disagreed, but long story short, we weren't ready for Florence. And are we ready for the next one? I don't think so. We need to collaborate. The fire department has come a long way, and I appreciate everything they've done. They've gone from 1 fireman at each station 10 years ago to a minimum of 4 men on board the whole time. Police officers were sharing the same vehicle. One would get out and one would get in. But North Topsail Beach is a beach town. We are a sandbar. We don't have a hospital. We don't have a school system. We don't have a gas station. We don't have, we have to leave the island to vote. We don't have anything. We need to bring a little bit of commercialism in here. We need to work and partner with other people. We stand here in town hall, and when we go out that door, we say, hey, I want to run a town. Do you need anything? We are in a town, and we have to leave a town to get the necessities to survive. North Topsail Beach needs more than that. There's 10 bridges between here and the north end. One of those bridges wash out. What are we going to do? Is there any plan for that? I don't know that I've seen one. Everywhere there's a bridge, there's an inlet, but yet there's a house getting pounded right between the bridge and the ocean. They're going to be the first casualties. Again, I appreciate you guys. Mark Barefoot, write me in. Thank you.
Mr. Leonard? You have to behave.
Okay. In the years past, we've always had board retreats in the spring, winter, sometime late winter, early spring. And the board retreats were what were used to start looking at what we wanted to do down the road for our planning. I think we have a plan. I don't think the plan is being implemented. I think what we need to do is get back to having annual board retreats. Usually do them before we start working on the budget. We need to do these retreats in this room, and we need to have them with citizen input so that our citizens have a way to also impact what we're trying to get done and the vision for the town. We all live here, we're all citizens, and we need to have a shared vision for where we want the town to go. As far as development and building, we're about 90% built out now, and I don't think that's even really the issue at this point, but it's where do we want to be in 3 years? Where do we want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? We have some big things on the horizon with the beach nourishment and trying to get all of our beaches restored. We have issues with infrastructure. We have a public works building that needs to be redone or replaced. Need to look at the North End Fire Station. We have roads that the town owns that need to be probably looked at for resurfacing. So there's lots of things we need to do here in North Topsail Beach. We need to sit down and we need to stroke out a plan that everybody has some input and ownership in so that we can move forward cohesively as a town. Let me give you back 23 seconds, Tammy.
Thank you. Mr. Malcolm?
So I think a very telling thing here is a sitting member of the Board of Aldermen said, I think we have a plan. We need to have a plan. We need to have a strategic plan. In Arlington County, we had a 5-year strategic plan. That strategic plan engaged everybody in the police department, each head of each major division, to provide what their vision was for those 5 years. What do we plan to do? What do we plan to build out? What facilities are we going to need? What equipment are we going to need? What training are we going to need? It engaged everybody within the police department. Not only that, we reached out to the community and we engaged the community directly in engagement, talking to citizens, having community meetings, going to people and asking them, what do you want to see your police department do? Now, the same thing, incorporating that into the county, having this larger plan incorporated into like the town to lay out what is our vision. As Mr. Leonard said, we need to look at replacing the Public Works building. And in due time, I'm sure there will be a need to replace the North Fire Station. My understanding is that several years ago, there were recommendations that were all sent in looking at where do you want to see the town going in a few years. And I don't believe those were ever acted upon. If I'm elected, I'll ensure that they get acted upon. I'll ensure that we have them written down so that you, the citizens, can hold us accountable to ensure that we are laying down that roadmap and doing it properly, transparently. I recently saw the Onslow County plan as well. It's very comprehensive. Obviously, we're going to have to incorporate our plan into their plan so that they're both compatible. One other thing that I don't believe that the town has a very good grasp on is a COOP, Continuity of Operations Plan. In Arlington County, the police department, I coordinated the COOP, which planned for if a major disaster were to happen, whether it be the building to blow up or a hurricane to strike, where would we be able to go and hit the ground running and still be able to function? What facility would we use? What equipment would we use? So those are just some of my vision.
Thank you.
I thought it was on.
Be sure to.
I'm looking at a sheet of paper that I filled out some questions for the Topsail Times, and I don't remember what the first question was, but my answer said, during the next 4 years, I'd like to see the completion of our 5-year beach renourishment action plan. and I would like to see continuing efforts to create long-term financial plans for other town projects, i.e. infrastructure, etc. And I would like to see the communication between the community and the BOA improve. I think that's what they all just said. I've been coming to the Board of Aldermen meetings for several years now as the chairman for the Beach Inlet Sound Advisory Committee, and I've never heard them talk about a plan. I understand, and Mr. Leonard is correct. I know that they do have those things. I know that they've talked about doing it and talked about having the little meetings away from the board meeting to do it, but I've never heard what they are and never seen what they are, so that means the public hadn't seen that either. So I think a very vital thing, and we're all agreeing on this, and they probably agreed on this when this happened for the last election, but it's just not happened. So if I get elected, I'm going to be pushing for us having whatever we need to do, whether it's in a formal meeting or in an informal meeting, to make sure that we work on all the projects and that we have good communication with you, the public. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this next question, we'll start with Mr. Barefoot. This question has to do with conflict of interest. If you have a business dealing within North Topsail Beach, could you or would you excuse yourself if there is a issue brought before the town that would be a conflict of interest?
I 100% have the ability to remove myself from that. As I've said earlier, I've had jobs all over. I'm confident in my abilities to obtain employment elsewhere if the current situation continues to go, which we all know we're talking about. The board needs to relook at some things, and this question was asked on purpose, but I can recuse myself. I take pride in seeing how many times Joanne recused herself over the last 10 years I've been here, whether it be a swimming pool, whether it be a development. I'm proud to see how she handled that, and I would like to follow her lead. The big issue is noise complaints. We have a new neighbor that's been here for less than 2 years that is the rotten apple in the apple cart. They didn't like the way a boat looked, so he removed it from our property. He didn't like the way the wood looked, so we cleaned it up. He doesn't like the noise level because it's over 55 decibels. A quiet room at 55 decibels, and then you have people outside talking, you're gonna get a fine every night. You're just running off commercialization. But yet you're gonna sit here and say we're gonna work together and commercialize North Topsail. If you buy a $500,000 home in a beach and you don't have beach access and you're going to sue the town over it, and you're going to be upset because it's an aggressive erosion rate, and it's just unbelievable that you buy next to a bar and think it's going to be quiet. To me, that is nothing more than a display of poor decision making on his behalf with his money. How do you think he's going to handle your money? Thank you.
Mr. Leonard?
Can you start by repeating the question, please?
Sure. Well, I paraphrased it, but this has to deal with conflict of interest. If you had business dealings within North Topsail Beach and an issue came up before the board, would you excuse or recuse yourself if there's an issue that's brought up before the town?
Seems that that's a one-word answer question, which is absolutely, I would. Now, on the other hand, I am just a grouchy old retired guy, and the only work I have right now is on this board, and I'm fully retired, and I'm selling my last rental house hopefully by the end of the year in Jacksonville, and going to be done with everything other than hanging out at the beach. So personally, I don't see how it would personally affect me. But if you're asking in general, I think it's obvious that it should be anything that is a potential conflict of interest for a board member should certainly be discussed, and a board member should do the right thing and recuse themselves, especially after they've talked to town attorney about it. And again, like Mark said, I think Joanne McDermott's done a great job with this over the years that she's either been on the board either as an alderman or the mayor pro tem or as the mayor. I think she set a good example, and let me give you back your minute.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Malcolm?
So yes, absolutely. As a reserve police officer currently for the town of North Topsail Beach, I don't get benefits, but I do get a minimal salary, hourly salary. The current mayor, recently spoke to the town attorney and said, well, could I serve as a reserve officer and still be a member on the Board of Aldermen? And the attorney came up with the opinion that I could serve as an auxiliary officer, which is an unpaid position. That's perfect. I did not join the police department to be a paid person. I did it to serve my community and to continue to provide the knowledge that I've gained over my 28 years of law enforcement to the town and to the community. Now, as for business dealings, the only business dealings I have is I am an emergency management planner that has no business in this area, this region of the state. But what that does do is it benefits the town in my knowledge that I've gained over the years in emergency management planning, disaster planning. So the only conflict of interest is I'll be able to help the town with the knowledge that I've garnered over the many years. So other than that, again, I'm also retired. So other than some part-time emergency management planning that I do, serving as a subject matter expert in law enforcement and emergency management, I have no conflicts, but I would easily be able to recuse myself if the attorney felt that any votes or decisions made I needed to recuse myself for any reason. So yes is the answer.
Mr. Struthers?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not planning on having any business inside of the limits of North Topsail Beach, and I've never been involved in anything like that where I had to make that decision. I'd like to hope I've got enough scruples that I would, but I don't know because I don't have any intent, and I don't plan on having any business except for my volunteer work that I do for the town of North Topsail Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anders?
Essentially, like everybody else is saying and stuff like that, I'm retired, have no businesses, have nothing else. That was the question on conflict of interest. For certain people to get up here and chastise other people is the wrong platform and should never be allowed in places like this. And I hope the people here do see what kind of person this person was, just said what he said, because it's not like that. It's all lies. It's all fabrication. It's all directed toward people that should never be talked about. And it's not just one person, it's other person he's done over and over and like this. So look at it. Okay, the question was conflict of interest, and that's what we should have stayed with. I have none, and I will never have conflict of interest because I don't own businesses, and I live here as a retiree in my golden years. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this next question, we will start with Mr. Leonard. What are your two main concerns for North Topsail Beach?
I would say right now the first main concern is our removal from the Coastal Barrier Resources Act, COBRA, which I've talked about up here many, many times over the past couple of years. We have worked diligently with our congressmen and senators in Washington to get bills sponsored to try to get removed from the Coastal Barrier Resources System. It has a lot of negatives for the town, for our citizens that are in the COBRA zones. They can't use a VA loan or any other federally funded mortgage program to buy a home. That includes all our Marines over here, guys like me retiring, and Larry and these two. It also means that you can't get federal NFIP insurance. I testified earlier this year and 2 years ago up in Congress, a subcommittee to work to get us out of COBRA, to get through the subcommittee, and to get that to the full committee and to the House floor. I know I'm running out of time. I'd like to talk about that more, but I won't. I think the other issue, the biggest other issue we have, is the restoration of our entire shoreline from one end to the other, and to have all of our beaches get to where they are FEMA beaches, and they are eligible for federal funds in the event that we have a disaster. I know there's a plan. The Beach Inlet and Sound Advisory Committee has been working on it, And there is a plan that the town has to get the beaches all nourished within the next several years. And I think it's a great plan, and it's going to do great things for the town. And that's my answer.
Thank you. Mr. Malcolm?
So clearly, public safety, right? With my background in public safety, with nearly half of the budget being taken by public safety, the fire department, and the police department, I think having a good partner and a strong knowledge base in public safety is going to benefit this town. I think we need to support our law enforcement. We need to support our firefighters because when one of those storms does hit, we're the only ones that are going to still be on the island. Hopefully, if it's a bad enough storm. But I think it's important that we focus on public safety in this town. The other thing, obviously, the beach. As is incorporated in our name, North Topsail Beach is a beach. We are nothing without our beach. The beach brings in tourism. It brings in visitors. It brings in retirees that want to move and live on the beach and walk their rescue dogs every morning on that beach. And we have to maintain that beach. We have to ensure that our beaches meet the engineering standards set out by FEMA and the federal government. We also have to start looking for alternative funding streams because ultimately we're seeing funding being cut in different areas, and I don't want to be caught off guard where we don't have funding to repair the beaches, to repair the dunes, and we're left holding nothing. So the beaches, obviously, again, are the most important because that is our town. But again, my dedication is to our public safety officers and, again, incorporating and working with Surf City Public Safety, working with Onslow County, we work with very closely on a regular basis. I think those are my two most important issues at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's apparent that everybody feels like that one of the two most important things is our beaches. Well, I'm going to take my turn right now talking about the beaches. I'm a charter member of the Beach Inlet Sound Advisory Committee, known as BISAC. I currently serve as chairman in half of the last 2.5 years. I was elected chairman beginning the second year of 2023 and have been re-elected each year to current. For the past 1.5 years, I have reported to the Board of Aldermen, worked directly with Chris Gibson, our beach engineer, and have committed myself, as I will, if lucky enough to be elected, continue to push to get this project done. As chairman, we finally developed our phase 5 that somebody talked about. We've finally developed our phase 5 action plan, and this past board meeting last week, Chris Gibson, our engineer, did a slide presentation, and you can look at it online, and it tells you exactly what we're going to do and when we're going to do it and how much it's going to cost. The North Topsail Beach is just about, with this project, going to be entering into the largest contract it's ever entered into, somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 million. I will continue to champion this project and use my extensive business experience to work towards addressing the complicated financing issues and all the other issues that we're going to have to face to get it to that point. The only way I can ensure that this project stays front of mind awareness and gets across the finish line is if you elect me as a Board of Aldermen for North Topsail Beach. Thank you. Oh, I could say something else. Thank you for your vote. By the way, I spent most of my 45+ years self-employed, so I totally understand planning, budgeting, and financing. Plus, I'm a heck of a nice guy.
All right, Mr. Anders, top that one.
I think all of us have come to the conclusion our beaches are our number one, why everybody is here, why the people come and vacation here, why the revenue that comes into this town that allows us to be a town and pay the salaries for all the people that work in this building and stuff comes from the beach. 18-month out plan that Mr. Gibson is a super plan. I think everybody, like I said, needs to look at it. I think the problem right now is if you were to walk the beach at North Topsail today, St. Regency is going away. Their walkovers are gone. Their dooms are coming down. Dolphin Shores, as much work as they've tried to do, Mother Nature is taking it back from them. I don't know if we're going to make to the 18 months. That's just a super moon last night, and we have 3 more coming up. So hopefully, God willing, that it will allow us to still have beaches and some dunes when we do get to our nourishment project, but that's something we've all got to worry about right now. It's happening right now, okay? The other part is, like Kip said, the safety part of it. We have talked extensively about crosswalks, about sidewalks, about getting the people that vacation here and everywhere down the roads that are walking on roads right now that is unsafe. The speed on these roads are ridiculous. We need to continue to look at safety things like crosswalks, sidewalks, and other things to get these people safely to the beaches that we do have accesses to get to. Thank you.
Mr. Barefoot?
The two things I think are most important, you're going to hear it again, sand, sand, sand. You know, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on surveys and this and that, and people from Western North Carolina giving, you know, telling that the terminal groin, the hardened structure, the jetty, the whatever name you want to call it. But we have done nothing for so long that we're going to have to start from scratch again and start spending more money. We've done nothing, guys, and the reef is falling in. Owners at Porpoise Place lost swimming pools. One floated all the way down to Shipwatch. It's ridiculous. Either we get the money, we find a way to get the money, we start begging if we got to, or start telling kids to bring rocks from wherever they're coming from, Ohio or New Jersey. Bring a dang rock with you and start throwing it out there on the inlet to help start getting some of this sand so that we can start farming the sand ourselves instead of paying somebody else to bring it to us. Second most important issue, I think, is Cobra. I think it's, if you were here the last Tuesday, or whatever night it was, Thursday, I think it's discrimination against the military. I think in 1984-85, they knew that the military would just come in here and buy all these new homes that were getting ready to be developed, because there were a lot that were already platted that were getting ready to have a for sale sign on it. I think it's a shame that we have spent over a decade and gotten nowhere with it. It's time to quit. You know, it's time to start action. Inaction has proven to get us nowhere, literally. Playing nice gets you so far, but nice guys finish last. It's time to take action. My name's Mark Barefoot. Please write me in. Thank you.
This next question, we will start with Mr. Malcolm. What experience and/or education do you have that you would bring to the town's budgeting process?
Well, I am a graduate of George Mason University. I attended a community college outside of Gainesville, affiliated with the University of Florida under scholarship, and then transferred to the University of Florida, where I worked on a computer engineering degree. Not quite finance, but I did take an accounting class, and I did pass. Then, like I said, I completed my degree up at George Mason University while I was working at the police department still full-time. But within the police department, we've worked on multi-million-dollar budgets. I've written proposals for purchase agreements, entered into contracts. I've written legislation for the police department through the county to have equipment distribution, other transfers, rewritten different code sections for the town, for the county. So I think I bring that knowledge as far as being able to, and I can look at numbers. I've been looking at the budget the past couple of weeks, and I think I bring common sense. I bring an air of transparency, and as I've been trying to do in the past couple of days, past couple of weeks, is I want to engage with people. If people have questions about the budget, I want them to come to me, invite me for coffee, or I'll invite you to coffee, and let's sit down and let's talk about those budget. Let's talk about your concerns about the budget. So I think my engagement, my ability to reach out to our voters, our residents, also our homeowners, where they may not have a voice in their vote, they do have a voice with me, and that their opinions and their concerns also matter. Same applies to our visitors. Visitors that come here need to be able to ensure that the town is being run efficiently and soundly budgetarily. So I think a combination of all these things and my ability to negotiate as a head of a negotiation team will help.
Okay. Mr. Strother? Sure. What experience and/or education do you have that you would bring to the town's budgeting process?
Well, you know, the school of hard knocks sometimes is the best way to learn. I started, when I was in my mid-20s, I began building houses. And didn't know how to manage money, didn't know how to do anything, but I had to learn real quickly. That continued on to where I started building office buildings and building apartment complexes. And I say build, I mean I was owner of those things. I never drove any nails for a living, but I had, but we did all those kind of things. There's no way you're going to do without budgeting, planning, and doing all the figuring you got to do. When you're going to the bank to borrow multi-million dollars to build apartment complexes, they want you to provide something besides your name on the dotted line. And so that's something that I had to do all of my life. And so I feel like that, you know, I'd be a perfect fit for what we're doing here. Of course, that's just my opinion, but I'm looking forward to it. I feel like that I can be a benefit to the town of North Topsail Beach, and if I can't, then y'all can kick me out. Thank y'all so much.
Mr. Anders?
Preparing for a budget. Everybody, I think, in this room and everybody here understands you start out as a young person, you grow as you grow. All of us start probably with our family budgets, what our incomes are. I've grown the same way. Military-wise, pretty much the budgets are all set. You have to follow them, but you do juggle and move things around, especially on team as team leaders and stuff. The second job I had, we were in a software of DOS software when I first got there. And you're talking about old age. We upgraded to a brand new platinum multi-Windows, multi-seed database financially and operationally, and it absolutely changed the company drastically. I've heard this town here runs off Excel spreadsheets, which is antiquated. We're getting a new financial officer here soon. First thing we need to do is get us an up-to-date financial software that we can control the budget, see everything that's in our budget, let the people see things. And I think everybody that did talk about it in the last meeting agrees. We've got to get on board with new technology and new software to bring us ahead in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Barefoot?
One more time, ma'am.
The question is, what experience and/or education do you have that you would bring to the town's budgeting process?
Experience in education. First experience is anybody that's had children, there you go. We've got 3, the dogs, the houses, the work, overtime, tax man. As far as experience working for Big Pharma, you need good men. I don't care how new the equipment is. If you don't have the personnel and the boots on the ground, you can get somebody trained to utilize and repair something that's old. Just because you have a new this or a new that does not mean that the person operating it can do the job. So dealing with Big Pharma, you have to make decisions. You have to make, is it a nice to have, or is it a need? You know, you just have to deal with wants and needs. At Western Carolina University, we had to, budget out our personnel, preventive maintenance, overhauls of equipment, and the state likes to be tight with their money. So I have plenty of experience with budgeting. I enjoy working with numbers. Math and physics were my go-to in school, and but biggest thing is listening to the voters. The view that I have worked as a SP Plus parking lot attendant at 4x4 access. I've been a fireman. I've been a business owner cleaning people's pools for non-resident homeowners. Listening to them is imperative because I'm not running for me, I'm running for the town. So we have to listen to see what they feel our needs are. And that is transparency and open forums and getting people together. Thank you.
Mr. Leonard?
watching to see when the clock starts there. Okay, so the question is, what experience or education?
And/or, what experience, you want to, yeah, thank you. What experience and/or education do you have that you would bring to the town's budgeting process?
Okay. First of all, I've been involved in this town's budgeting process from during my years here on the board. I have completed 2 4-year terms, and each year we do a budget. I am completing this year a 2-year term, so I guess that gives me 10 budget cycles with the town. Come in, we work through all of our department heads with our town manager, we get their wants and needs, we work through it. It's a long process. I had talked earlier on in my intro about my experience with the town, and I think that my experience, having been on the board, is certainly an appropriate answer to that question. In addition to my time here working through our budget processes, while I was in the Marine Corps as a commissioned officer, I was a commanding officer many times, and was always as a commander, you had a budget. You had a budget, you had to stay within the budget, and kind of like Mark said, you had to kind of sometimes do some real innovative things to make the budgets work, but I've been responsible for budgets for equipment-heavy military units, ranging in size from Marine 250 Marines to up over 1,000. So I have experience outside of what my time here on the board has given me regarding our budgets. So
Okay.
that's my answer.
We started with, okay, we start now with Mr. Struthers. This will be our last question, and then we will have, or you'll have 2 minutes then to wrap up and say what you'd like to say. So the last question is, what do you think the strength of North Topsail Beach is?
That's a good question. Well, I believe that as a tourist area, of course, has got to be one of the strongest points that we've got, because, like it's been said earlier, we don't have all the stores, the restaurants, the bars, all the different places that people would like to go. So, I mean, I think the people are strong that live here permanently, but you know, we're a recreation community. So many of our properties are not, they're owned by absentee owners. So, you know, I think that our strength is in our police force, in our fire departments, and in all of the people that work for the town, that do things trying to keep it to a point that the visitors want to come here, because we wouldn't make it if we were just here based on the full-time people that live here. So I think that part of the whole process has to be the recreation community and the beaches. We go back to the beaches. I mean, you know, if you take North Topsail's beaches away from us, and what do we have? You know, so I think that's, you know, as I see it, you know, our strength is in our ability to attract the people and to keep the things done that's going to make it beautiful and people wanting to come here.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Anders?
Strength in this town, talking to a lot of the people that I meet every day and the neighbors I have and stuff like this, the strength, I think, is a major part of the people that's actually come here in the last 5 years. This town hall, in 2 years, I've seen the people they've hired here and the people that are working here, and even people that's coming to the board. People are saying it's getting better. They were very negative when I first talked to people and stuff like that, but they say the people that we're hiring are getting better. A good example is Chris, our public works guy. We get quite a few people talking how much he's changing the dynamics of this island, the beauty of the island, the care of the island. And it goes from other departments here. Our city manager, Tom, tell you that right off the bat. So I think the people that's coming in and the changing of this place is a large strength. And of course, we all know the beach is our strength. It draws people here and gets the revenue here, but that allows them to hire the people and have the people here that's going to work for you, the people of this town, and represent these people and do everything they can to make it a better town.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Barefoot?
Strength of the town is tourism. If those beaches are gone, we're gone, guys. With tourism, we need to work with the county. I used the analogy the other day of an anglerfish. North Topsail Beach is the lure. The county is the anglerfish getting all the goods. Not only do we need to deal with the county, we need to deal with all of eastern North Carolina. All of eastern North Carolina has the same issues we're going through as a growing small community. We need to go to the state level. And I can tell you right now, we need to go to Ohio, because Ohio would probably help us fund whatever we need to fund, guys. I'm telling you, where I work, the number of people from out of state that come here to our beach because of its geographical location. They hit the interstates, boom, you're in Wilmington, boom, you're in North Topsail. So my answer is the tourism and the beach. I can tell you what we don't have. That's pretty much everything, guys. Post office. I mean, if you have a medical emergency, you're going all the way to Jacksonville or you're going all the way to Wilmington. Flip a coin. What time of night is it? Is the ambulance going to get here in time? That's all. Thank you. Vote for Mark.
Mr. Leonard?
I think that our strength is in our community. And when I say our community, I mean our citizens and our employees. A while back, one of the other candidates up here made reference to how things went during Hurricane Florence. I was on the board then, and I was here for the whole thing across the bridge at our Emergency Operations Center. And I saw firsthand how our employees banded together, our police, our fire, our town staff, and how well they responded to that event. And it was truly inspiring. So I think our strength is truly our people here and our sense of community. And at the same time, one of our strengths, along with our shoreline, is our tourists. Because, as I know, the county commissioner sitting there in the blue shirt will agree, you know, our tourists bring in a lot of bucks. And when they bring in a lot of bucks, between occupancy taxes and sales taxes and all the money that's derived and all the employment opportunities that they create for us and for our citizens and for our community on both sides of the bridge, what does it do for us? It keeps our tax rate low. We can fund things with the money that those people coming from Ohio bring to the town. So those are what I believe to be our strengths.
Thank you. Mr. Malcolm?
We've sat up here and we've talked a lot about the beach, and I'll talk about the beach in just a minute. But I think the important thing that's been talked about up here is the staff. Hiring and retaining the staff is crucial. We're losing people regularly. While the fire department, I believe, only has one vacancy, and the police department may only have one vacancy, there are other positions vital to this town that are vacant, that we cannot hold people in those positions. How long did it take for us to bring on a finance manager? How much money did we have to pay an outside accounting firm in order to keep the town's finances? How hard is it to hire somebody? How hard is it to retain somebody? The other thing that I've been doing in the past couple of weeks is talking to the staff, engaging the staff and asking them, what are their concerns? What do they want to see out of their aldermen that are laying the policy, that are setting the budgets for this town? What do they want? And I've been listening, and I've got a lot of information. When was the last time an alderman or mayor rode patrol with a police officer in this town? When was the last time they went with the fire department to a fire scene or a fire call? I think they're out of touch with again, the largest part of our budget in our public safety officers. I continue to do that meet and greet. I continue to engage, and I continue to believe that our staff, including our IT director in the back of the room, everybody plays a very vital role in keeping this town together in an emergency and in everyday operations. About the beach, it is important to maintain our beaches. The beaches are one of our strengths. And we have to keep those memories for those people that visit and continue to visit, continue to come back, and eventually one day hopefully buy a home and move here as well. Thank you.
All right. Now, this will be your last opportunity to have a wrap it up. No question, just speak what's on your mind. You've got 2 minutes, and we'll start with Mr. Anders.
Thank you all for coming tonight and listening. I think you definitely have heard a lot of different opinions. I want to make sure that we all understand, we all in this room and everybody who lives on this island are a community. We have to get along with each other, or we need to get along with each other. The hate that's in this community needs to go away. That's across the nation. We need to definitely come together. We have problems. We need to fix problems. We need to be more transparent as a board here, because it does not happen. A good example is people come and talk their 3 minutes at a meeting, bring up complaints or things that they think need to be fixed. They're never addressed again after that three minutes on the next meeting or any other meeting. So that tells you right there, nobody's listening to you from the board. Again, when's the last time you saw an alderman on a beach, on a road, or somewhere and stopped and talked to them and stuff like that? Or they come to you and talk to you. They work for you. They work for this community. Okay? We all have a large part to play in this town, and we need to carry it forward in the future. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Barefoot.
Closing remarks. I'm not running for this position for my ego. I'm not running for this position for me. I'm running for this position for you, the citizen, the voter. I've been around 10 years. I've seen things. I know things. Just like with the hurricane, the men and women responded greatly as they went back to their freezers of their own home to get their own food, to bring it back to cook for the aldermen and the staff. The truth gets out. And the more you tell a lie, the sooner or later you're going to start to believe it. I was here during the hurricane. I drove all the way back from Wilson the following day. I was turned away by the board and the fire department. They said they didn't need me, didn't have enough food to feed everybody. But long story short, there's a lot of room for improvement. I'm the dark horse. I'm not on the ballot. Again, I am pretty much the blue-collared, hard-working candidate that will do the best I can for you. If you elect me, I will do the best I can. If you don't elect me, I know I can lay my head down at night and tell myself that I did the best I could in the situation there was with the numbers of candidates running. I really and truly wish more people would have run for this position. And the reason I'm running for a write-in candidacy is because the only 4 that are running to fill 3 of those slots, you guys can do the math. My name's Mark Barefoot. I'm a write-in candidate for North Topsail Beach Alderman. I have supported homeowners that are non-residents. I've dealt with tourists. I've dealt with locals. If you want to get to know me, great. If you really want to get to know me, go and talk to the people down at the business I work at. They will give you a first-hand indication of who I am and what I stand for. Thank you, and God bless you all.
All right, Mr. Leonard.
I want to thank everybody for coming out and attending this evening. I want to thank the Chamber and our staff and everyone involved in facilitating this event this evening. I know it takes some time and some work, and we do appreciate it. I think public service is about building relationships. I think that in my service to the town, I've developed and maintained strong relationships both with the county and the state, and especially up in Washington, D.C. These relationships are the reasons why we're moving our Cobra bills forward. And at the same time, I met 2 weeks ago with the new U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Director, one-on-one with him in his office and his chief of staff, and got assurances from them that they will take a good hard look again at our Cobra situation and take a fresh look at it and see what they can do to try to help us. And that's big. We've never had any kind of buy-in or any type of willingness to support or even look at our Cobra situation down here in North Topsail Beach from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And their support is key for getting those bills moved beyond where they are now. I think that my record as an alderman here speaks for itself. I'm committed to the town, listening to its citizens. I'm committed to the protection and restoration of our shoreline, making North Topsail Beach a better and safer place to live, work, and visit. I'm experienced in knowledge from town government procedures, and I'm willing to tackle the tough issues and make the difficult decisions when necessary. I'd like to ask for your vote on Election Day. Vote for Tom Leonard for alderman. Thank you.
Thank you once again to the Greater Topsail Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, and for everyone for coming out here tonight and sharing your concerns and listening to us and our ideas. So tonight we've covered critical ground on conflicts, long-term planning, concerns, budgets, and the strengths of this town. In every decision, my approach remains the same. I apply decades of experience in service, leadership, and community engagement. My background in law enforcement and emergency management has taught me that the best planning happens before the crisis hits, and the strongest communities are built with mutual respect and open communication. As your alderman, I will approach every budget vote, every policy decision, and every zoning challenge with the discipline of a first responder and the foresight of a planner. I'm not just running to hold a seat. I'm running to establish a true partnership with every resident, property owner, business owner, and visitor here to North Topsail Beach. That partnership requires effort, transparency, and consistency. If I've done my job right tonight, I hope I've earned your vote and your confidence. And most importantly, I hope you get out and vote on November 4th. My promise to you is simple. I promise to work tirelessly to maintain your trust you place in me, ensure our town is fiscally responsible, safe, and sustainable for generations to come. Please, I encourage you to get out and vote. Your voice is the most powerful tool we have in shaping the future of North Topsail Beach. I invite you to visit my website, kipmalcolm.com. Leave me a comment. This Monday and Tuesday night, I'll be on patrol here in the town in the late afternoon and evening. Flag me down. Have a talk if you don't want to talk outside of that. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.
Mr. Strother?
Well, I never thought I'd be sitting here. Back in late 2021, I happened to be looking online, and I saw something about a new committee being formed at North Topsail Beach, and I read something about it, and I said, well, you know, that sounds interesting. So I filled out the thing and emailed it in. Well, early in 2022, I was contacted, or maybe it was late, I don't know what the date was, and said that I was being considered. So in any regard, I ended up in 2022 getting on a committee that I knew absolutely nothing about. And it was dealing with the beach. Well, I have fallen in love with our beach. I have spent now 3.5 years, and it had been started. It wasn't like that we just had to crank it all up. I mean, some of the work had been being done, and a couple of the aldermen were going to come on board with it. But the bottom line is we got started, and that's been the end of it. I have this project is part of me. I look at it just like my job. And so I'm up here begging for your vote because I love the beaches and I love what we can do with it. And after I started coming to the Board of Alderman meetings, I got involved in some of the other things, and I really think I can make a difference. So my name is Larry Strother. I am not a write-in candidate, and so when you go, just check off Larry Strother, look at my signs, pick up my sheets back there, and it's got a little more information about me. And I appreciate the chamber. I appreciate all of you coming, and I appreciate all of you that's online. Thank you all so much, and God bless.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for your answers today. I hope the audience here and at home can hear from you and see your views and your visions. So thank you all for being here. Let's round of applause. Now, if you'll take your name tags, and then we're going to bring up the mayoral candidates. That's your souvenir. That's from the chamber. right, we're going to begin our questioning with the mayoral candidates. We have Mr. Mike Benson and Mr. Richard Grant. And some of these questions you have heard from before. And then some will be different. So if you would like to have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, we'll start with Mr. Benson.
Good evening. As Tammy said, I'm Mike Benson, candidate for mayor of North Topsail Beach. Thank you for coming out or watching online to learn more about your mayor candidates. I'd like to talk for a few minutes, well, minute 48, why I'm running. I believe the voters should have a choice for mayor, as a one-candidate race is no choice. I hope you will see after tonight that the candidates offer 2 different leadership styles. So it's up to you as a voter to decide which kind of leadership style you support. With my background as a university professor, I offer voters a candidate with a leadership style who will work at all levels of our community to develop consensus for each topic or issue that will be the best way for our town. Consensus building is challenging because initially everyone has their own opinion. So working towards consensus requires good skills, including listening and patience. I like helping people, whether it be mowing my neighbor's grass when they're out on vacation or helping a neighbor put up a new fence. I also feel like I've helped the people of North Topsail Beach during my 8 years as your alderman. I believe I've experienced to be an effective mayor. I have built a good relationship with other leaders on the island, as well as leaders of coastal nonprofit groups associated with shoreline protection and with those in state and federal agencies. Thus, there will be no gap in leadership as we continue the progress for the last few years. My full campaign information can be found at www.bensonformayor.com. Thank you.
Mike's right. There's a complete difference in our how we got here. I'm Rick Grant. I'm your current alderman. I'm running for mayor. I have 30 years of executive experience as a president, CEO, chairman of the board. I've run heavily regulated companies like this, and that's what the town is. I've run non-public and private companies. I've dealt with regulators, auditors, government officials, state and federal. I've had extensive testimony before those bodies. I've built strong relationships, as I have with your liaison with Onslow County, and as an Onwassa board member representing you. And by the way, I also in my own business, what Larry talked about, and when you have your own business like that, you understand what it is that when you're writing the checks, you got to spend it like your own. Since I've assumed those roles for you, and I think a lot of this is not the promises of what I might do in the future, but I think you got to look at what I've done for this town in the last couple of years. Go into meetings and having those type of things, and I think one of the gentlemen talked about not meeting. I'm the only alderman that's out there meeting with HOAs. I've already done 3 or 4 in the last 6 months. I've got another one scheduled in 10 days. I will meet with anybody. I will talk to anybody because I want to know what you had. Since I assumed the roles, we received from the county over $1 million in the fire tax. Since I've done that, we've received hundreds of thousands of dollars in beach debt payments, $10,000 for Ocean City for a beach access, and now their commitment, and our good friend, the chairman of the board, talked about it. Onslow County's putting $1.5 million into the town this year. My education, I'm an attorney and an engineer, and that's given me a unique perspective in terms of how to run things. I run businesses. That's what I've done. We face the toughest financial decisions this town has ever made over the next year. We're looking at a $50 million project. All right, my commitment to you is I'm going to show up. I've shown up, and I think that's a key metric here. Can I show up? I have. Thank you, and I hope for the rest of this conversation we can go.
Okay. All right, Mr. Benson, first question. Do you think it's time to open up and update the zoning and planning ordinances? And should these accommodate growth in new building?
I really would like you to repeat the question.
Sure.
Let me see it. I
Are
should have
you-
brought my hearing aids, folks, but I didn't put them in tonight, so I had trouble. Something about the planning board.
Are you open to updating zoning and planning ordinances to accommodate or assist, or how do you feel about growth and new building?
Oh, well, that's a pretty easy question. North Topsail Beach is pretty much 100% residential. We don't have much choice. We have either Con V, the marshes, or we have buildable lots. We're about 90% built out. So when we reach 100%, that's going to be it. We don't have to worry about zoning because we're residential. There are a few businesses, but our real business is vacation rentals. 30,000 people come to town in the summer to visit our beach. So I just don't see that there's a need to be worrying about our zoning unless one of the big landowners would want to develop some sort of commercial property, then we would have a decision to make. But most of the landowners that own large portions of town, I really shouldn't name names who they are, but they're generation investors and passing that land down through generations. And at some point, they may try to do a commercial development, but basically the town's too small for much of a commercial development. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a little bit different tact on this. If you remember about a year and a half ago, I pushed because I was very concerned about the dune structure and working through the planning board and everything else to have people not build as close to the dunes as they were building. Background civil engineer, when you build up against something, you're undermining that and push through that 5-foot setback to it so they can't get that close. The other thing, and I've heard this twice tonight, we're almost built out. That's not true. I met with the Ocean City people about a house down there, and I was talking to the lady that's their head. The next step that we're going to have in this thing is what I call the tear down build-ups. The land is what's worth it here. When you go to Ocean City and you take a look at the legacy of that city, what you see are small beach houses. Nobody is building a small beach house here, but the land is worth something. And the lady that I was dealing with showed me her house. She had a leak in her house, and I was working with it with Hanwasa to get it fixed. But what's funny is, went out, looked at her house, and right next to her normal, and it had been in the family for generations, was a 10-bedroom, rental. Okay, when we keep talking about it being built out, it's not built out because we see this everywhere. The land is the value. You got a small house there. You buy that small house, you tear it down, and what you build is this big house. So yes, we need to take a look at zoning. We need to take a look. We still haven't addressed the things on sound yet, which we've been pushing for. What are the regulations on the sound? We did, we've got the issue with pools on the ocean side, and somebody talked about the one that ended up on the beach. We have to be careful about this because you can't just assume that what you see today is what you're going to see tomorrow. And we have to take a hard look at what we want this town to be. Thank you.
Okay, next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Grant. Coastal towns have different challenges than an average inland town. What do you see as the town's greatest challenge?
We had this discussion before about the two biggest issues facing the town and what those big issues are. The easiest answer on that is, wow, let's get the beach plan done and take care of public safety. That's great. But right now, we don't know how much money we have. We know how much money we got in the bank. And if you remember a couple of months ago, I proposed we start looking at a 5-year plan and to bring that forward. The problem we've got is when you look at, and this has been my career, I used to say, as a CEO of a company, it's not just about tomorrow, it's about where is that gorilla 5 years from now? How do we pay for that firehouse? How do we go out and get money? How do we work with the county who's committed to work with us? You can't do this stuff one time. Nobody goes out and says, oh, tomorrow I need a car, all right? As a town, we have to take a look at how much money we've got, and that's part of that forecasting. We've got a huge project coming up right now, $50 million project. If you go on and take a look at our last Alderman meeting, you'll see there's a disagreement about how that was funded and how things are being funded. But simply, you have to think about this. $3 are the matching that we're going to get for that project. We're depending on that money. So to the extent that we don't watch what we spend now, every dollar that we do, somebody brought up the accounting firm, every dollar that we spent in the town that we don't need costs us $4 at the beach. I call it the rule of 4. And that's the biggest issue we've got right now is how much money do we have? And then, as part of that 5-year plan, and I talked about this at those meetings, is we need to go out, meet with you. I know what I think. I don't know what you think. What are the priorities of this town? And if it's the beach, that's great. If it's public safety, that's great. But the first thing you do, just like your budget, is how much money do I have? What are my priorities? And right now, that's critical that we get that plan. Right now, we're living on 1-year budgets. That's not a plan. Thank you.
Coastal towns have different challenges than the average inland town. What do you see as the town's greatest challenge?
To me, the town's greatest challenge is keeping sand on the beach. We don't have 30,000 visitors coming to North Topsail Beach because we don't have a good beach. They're coming here because it's an uncrowded beach. They're coming here because it's a good place for families to vacation. So our strength is our beaches, and we have to maintain the beaches. We do have the 5-year plan everybody's been talking about. That's a priority to get finished, but our basic goal is to keep the beaches in shape so people keep coming. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This next question will start with you, Mr. Benson. What experience and/or education do you have that you would bring to the town's budgeting process?
Well, I've sat about right over there for 8 years and worked through the town's budget. And as Mayor Pro Tem Leonard mentioned earlier, you know, we look at what the department heads are requesting, what the town manager is suggesting. You all could be in that room with us making those comments as the public. So we do go through a process to come up with a balanced budget. Fortunately, our town budget has grown from $4.9 million when I first came on the board to $8.9 million now. This is a general fund budget, okay? That's almost a doubling in our funds. And one of the things I'm most proud of in that budgeting process was the fact that about halfway through my term, I finally convinced the board that we needed a capital improvement fund. Before, we were just using the contingency fund, which was actually leftover money in the budget that came in above the expected revenue, to establish a capital improvement fund so we could plan for future capital improvements. That has now taken place, and we're being able to use that capital improvements fund, 7 cents of your tax dollar, to help pay for the fire station, to build to purchase a new fire engine. You know, it's a major accomplishment just to have that in our budget. So the budgeting process is something that the board works with as a whole to come up with a balanced budget. Thank you.
You don't need to repeat it. I heard the question. I'm not happy with our budgeting process. This past year with the outside accounting firm, we spent almost $100,000 putting the budget together. That's a lot of money. When you talk about experience, and look, a lot of this is, my past experience looks good on a resume. Okay, I've run a $1 billion company, $1 million company, all that stuff is great. But the one thing you find out in the business world and not in the academic world is, you know, you have to budget things, but you have to know how to put it together. And saying that I participated in putting a budget together or I reviewed those numbers is not the same thing, because that doesn't establish the same priorities that you need as a town. And again, I'm back to my rule of 4. Every dollar we put out here costs us $4 on the beach. We have to be stringent. The other thing, too, is I think was very interesting is when Tim Foster, the chairman of the commission, came and met, was my guest last week, to come and talk to us, he talked about partnerships. A classic example of that, I'm on the Unwassa board. They've got that land up there where the old Plurus office was. The county's looking at putting an EMS thing in there, all right, a new emergency station. We need an EOC. And as our chairman knows, when he brought this up in our Unwassa meeting, that he wanted it for the county, I turned to Frankie, the Unwassa chairman, and said, "You're second in line. I've been asking for 8 months for us to get that property and get that developed." Part of the budgeting process is knowing how to put a budget together, challenging it. And if you look and you listen to the town meetings, I think you'll find I'm the one that's challenging the spending. I'm the one that's challenging what we're doing. That's how you run a business. That's how I run a business. You can't be successful in this. And we are a corporation. We are a municipal corporation. We have to run it like a business because that's the only way we can protect the value and protect your money. We got to make sure the money goes to the right places. And sitting in a meeting or going through a budget process that's not a real budget process is not how we do that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Excuse me. There's been some questions in the town about municipalities setting speed limits. Do you agree that the municipalities should set speed limits? And if so, what should that speed limit be?
Oh, wait, let me turn.
Speed limits. I think that the state-controlled roads, DOT has established the correct speed limits on those roads. You know, we had a big controversy over speed limits last year. And I think that when you look at the fact that during the summer we got 30,000 people in town, most of y'all are driving 25, or the visitors anyway, are driving 25, 30, maybe 35, because they're looking at all these beach houses up and down the street. And so other times of the year, when there's 1,000 of us left, that, you know, those 30,000 have left town, I don't see a problem with us abiding by the speed limit, and I think that the current speed limits are set just fine. Thank you.
You don't need to repeat it. I heard it. So when this came up initially, and again, with my background and probably my obsession, whenever I have an issue like that, rather than just jumping on it and saying, oh, this sounds like a great political issue or whatever, the issue here was whether we should drop the speed limit from 45 to 35 on New River Inlet. Instead of just listening to stuff, I went and did the research. I talked to Stoney, the DOT guy. What are the numbers? And the numbers are that this is one of the lowest accident areas in the state. Believe it or not, the highest accident rate on this island is in Surf City, where they drive those carts. There's a real surprise. Okay, and I think the stats were 1 in every 10 million miles transited on this road caused some kind of accident. We had no facilities, everything else. And so I asked him, if we drop the speed limit, are we going to have less fatalities? Well, you can't have less than 0. Again, looked at the numbers, went through the deals, everything else. The issue we have, frankly, is around the parking lots just at the beginning coming in before you get to Osprey. And so you had the people in the north end that said, look, I'm commuting, all right? And it's going to take me that much longer to make that drive. And if the issue is one area, what I talked to one of the gentlemen sitting here, I said, look, one of the things that we can do is you have those yellow warning signs, the 35s that are by the parking lot and stuff. Let's try that. Let's go ahead and put that out there on those parking lots so that people will start slowing down. And maybe we put, Kip is in law enforcement, but one of the things you do is get one of those flashing things that go by when it looks like you're going too fast. And there's a statute in North Carolina about unsafe speed. So if somebody is transiting that, even if the speed limit is not the real speed limit, you can still ticket them. So it comes down to enforcement. And again, you got to do the research on these things. Speed limits are fine, and then very quickly, the other thing I don't like about dropping it to 35 is that allows low-speed vehicles to be on it, and those are those golf carts that you see. Thank you.
Well, I promised that we would be out of here by 8, but I think we're going to be a little after. What are your two main concerns for the town? I think we start with you this time.
The easy answer is the beach and public safety. The real thing is you don't even know how you can address those things until you figure out how much money you've got, until you do the 5-year plan that I've talked about. Because if you look at the beach plan again, we're talking about a $50 million beach plan. We're in the permitting stage right now, and I thank Larry, because Larry is the driving force. Yeah, we sat on the board, and sitting in meetings and stuff, it's not, I don't measure success by saying I sat in meetings or I was in this conference or whatever. I've done all that stuff in my career. It's getting things done, all right? And right now, we have almost $35 million in the bank. And people say, why don't you give that back? If you listen to Chris Gibson's presentation last week, you've got to have money in all of our beach projects. And I know there was confusion by one of our members last week about how these things happen. The reality is all of the beach projects that we're talking about are reimbursable projects. You have to have the money up front. You've got to have that in your hand, and we're talking probably $30 million in hand to be able to do that. Right now, we're owed $6 million by FEMA from previous. You've got a plan. What do we need that money for? Once we figure that thing out, and we discuss this with you, and we have this kind of meetings that we're talking about, we figure out what the town priorities are, what we can afford. You know, if we can't afford a Lamborghini, then we get a Ford. We got to figure out the right way to spend our money. Now, public safety is huge, all right? And we talked about delivering stuff and infrastructure. It's great to talk about. I started something. We looked at capital dollars. Okay, since I became your liaison with the county, we've had $1 million come into this town for that, you know, for the fire tax, and hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in. It's not about meeting. In the business world, you don't measure success by having meetings or talking or going to DC and meeting with people like that. You have to produce. If I don't produce, kick me out. Every business I've got, if I didn't produce, I was gone. That's the real world. Thank you.
Mr. Benson?
Yeah, I agree with Alderman Grant on the beach as one of our big concerns. We've got to get the beaches completed in the first round, and we've done phase 5. We just finished phase 4. Now we've got a plan in place for phases 3 back to 1. We've got to get that done. And my concern about the money is the state putting dollars in the shallow draft fund, because the legislature has taken the dedicated marine tax that's supposed to be going in the shallow draft fund that we're counting on to use for that $50 million project, and put it over in western North Carolina for recovery of Hurricane Helene. And we can understand that. Those people need help over there. The state legislatures are looking for every dollar they can scrape out of the state budget and put recovery, $60 billion in damage with Hurricane Helene. So yeah, that's a concern, that the money's going to be there at the state level when we're ready to build the project. Not that we don't have the cash on hand to get started. The second thing is Cobra. We have got to get the rest of the town out of Cobra. Mayor Pro Tem Leonard has put his heart and soul into the Cobra project, even though he doesn't even live in a Cobra part of town. Cobra is an equity that was established back when aerophotography weren't all that good. And so getting out of Cobra has many advantages. For those that you are in Cobra, you know what they are. So that is a big concern. And I think this year, as Alderman or Mayor Pro Tem Leonard has said, we're the closest we've ever been to getting out of Cobra. It's going to happen this year, or it's probably not going to happen. Thank you.
Okay. So let's make this our last question. What is the strength of North Topsail Beach?
The strength of North Topsail Beach is the town staff, administration, meeting the needs of the stakeholders, and our ability to plan for the future as we have that beach nourishment plan in place. But here's one thing I'd like to say, and it doesn't apply to me, but we don't want to appreciate the fact that climate change and sea level rise of 1 foot by 2050 is going to be happening on the east coast of the United States. What are we going to do to address that? well, we're working on a 5-year plan. Well, this is a 25-year thing. And those of you living on the sound side of the island, are you gonna be walking out to your mailbox in your hip waders to get your mail? This is something we gotta think about. This is a long-term issue that I think we need to get the planning board and the Beach Inlet Advisory Committee working on, so that we are not the ones crying the sky fell when we knew it was coming and we didn't make plans to develop it. And it's not just a local community issue, it's a national issue. It's an international issue. We don't like to talk about climate change anymore because things are happening, that more storms, yada, yada, yada. But we've got to plan now. We've got to come up with some solutions for the future, or we are going to be wading out to the mailbox in our hip waders. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Brandt?
I'm a little bit confused by the question because he brought in Cobra and some other stuff. Would you repeat the?
What do you think is the strength of North Topsail Beach?
Okay. Well, obviously the staff and the town and you know the people that showed up today. If I can digress for something, you know, and look, I brought up the Cobra issue before because we've been chasing this thing for 10 years. And I'll read a quote to you. It came from our board minutes. Thank you, Alderman Leonard. You put your heart and soul into this. We have gotten the most support we have had and are the closest we have gotten. That was Mr. Benson, but that was 2 years ago. And I think, look, I really hope that happens. But if it doesn't, we need to step back. And I talked about this in the debates, and you can look that up, is we have to figure out what resources we need. You know, we share a lobbyist right now. Maybe that's not the answer. Trying is good, but we got to have deliveries on that kind of stuff. What are our strengths? Our staff. I think the people that care about this thing. You can't live here and not love where you live. Every time we come across that bridge, I make my wife say, we live on an island where people pay a lot of money to come visit. And I think the beach is our strength. I'm out dealing with HOAs all the time. I'm the only one meeting with those. I walk on the beach and I talk to people. And people ask me about our beach, and I said, well, in my opinion, I don't want to be Myrtle Beach. Okay, I love what we have here. I love the beach that we've got here. We've got a great relationship with the county. They're willing to work with us and build on that. Our strength right now is, you know, and yeah, I've done a lot of it, but we now have a partnership with the county. You had Tim Foster come in. You've got Royce here today. They're going to work with us. They're going to build that. Let's build, and as they know in those meetings, the county meeting that I go to twice a month, where my wife elbowed me, when they were presenting their plan for the year and they talked about the beach, I said out loud, North Topsail Beach, and I got elbowed because it was a presentation by the county manager. We're their beach. They're going to partner with us. Our strength is the beach and the people that live here. Thank you.
Okay. So we will start with Mr. Menson. If you want to do a 2-minute wrap-up to talk about
Mike, we should ask for 3 minutes because it's just us.
But I promised that we would be out at 8, and I've already broken that promise. So, Mr. Menson?
So I like to think that we have a good thing going here. Our budget is in good shape. We're over expectations of almost $1 million from what we predicted. So we're in good shape budget-wise. But, you know, the reason I'm really running for mayor is, like I said earlier in my opening statement, I like to help people. And I feel like I do help my neighbors, but I also feel like I've, you know, developed a sense of community here, which I would like to improve on. I think we have some community events, but not enough. I think we should have possibly some town hall meetings, possibly spring and fall picnics at the park, maybe a mayor's corner to get input as to citizens' concerns and suggestions. But we've got a good town here, and my motto is let's continue the progress. So again, let's continue that progress and elect Mike as mayor. Thank you.
You don't need to repeat it. I hope tonight's given you kind of an idea. I mean, it's a pretty stark choice. In my world, the business world, effort's not enough. You got to produce. In order to accomplish those goals and that beach plan we're talking about, we've got to manage this business like a company. We've got to manage and watch our money. And don't forget my rule of 4. The other thing to think about as we're talking about this, take a look and find out what's happened with Rocky Mount, little town up there. Because they didn't put the controls that I've been pushing, because they didn't financially watch what they were spending, they're laying people off, they're increasing taxes. They literally have to cut $30 million out of their next 10 months expenditures because they didn't watch that. We've got a finance manager coming in. We've spent a lot of money with an accounting firm. I'm the only candidate with business experience, including dealing with regulators, okay? And I'm an attorney and an engineer, which has really helped me with Onwassa. And if you don't think I've made a difference with Onwassa, you haven't been paying attention to the Onwassa trucks that are out here. We've now fixed over 110 leaks in this town in the last month. And the chairman of the Onwassa knows how much I've pushed that race. What bothers me most? Lack of planning and controls. What scares me is it's not just the board that has to understand this, it's the stakeholders. You know, what are we doing? You know, and it's producing results. And I think if you look at my track record for you for the last couple of years, I'm the one that's out there. It's foot leather. I'm the one doing the meetings. I'm the one going out and meeting with the county twice a month, going with Onwassa, BISAC, whatever. And also it comes with, you know, the knowledge that I have built over 30 years. Look at the relationship we have. We had the chairman of the Onslow County Board of Commissioners come out, and that's never happened in our knowledge of this town, and committed to building a partnership. I've built that partnership, and we got to keep that partnership. I ask you for your vote. If you want it run like a business, I'm your guy. If you don't, I'm not. Thank you.
That concludes our questions for tonight. Before we go, I want to thank Fred Fontana for being our timekeeper. And then I'd like to thank the town of North Topsail Beach for giving us this hall and for broadcasting live stream. So we thank you, and I applaud you for your attempts at running in office and for your commitment. And I'm going to ask the audience that if you want to talk with the candidates, do it in the parking lot so this staff can get out of here. So thank you very much.